Good afternoon and welcome to Season 4, Episode 40 of The Paper Thing. Today's episode, Keir's The Real One. We're going to start with The Sun. We're going to do a speed run through The Telegraph. And then we have got The Times and the Daily Mail to finish. Got to be in and out. At some speed, person in the room drifting past. Jesus, brilliant. I had a new desk set up and then tons of stuff just fell off the desk. Amazing scenes. Amazing scenes. I have my new desk set up, so I am doing the show stood up now, which is going to be interesting, to say the least. Right. Hello to another TT viewer, and hello Carbot14XYZ. Let's do this. Right, we're starting with The Sun, front page of The Sun. Cara Delevingne in an exclusive talking about sex. Incredible scenes from The Sun. Who knew that it was a sex-obsessed rag? Hey, Tara writes, how you doing? Does this mean you get me doing star drops or something? No, but maybe I'll be a bit more... even more lively than usual. Anyway, so Cara Delevingne saying, I love male strippers, sex toys, and the big O. Presume she means Owen Jones, as often as possible. On the left-hand side, two jabs, holes ahead, writes Bunter, a.k.a. Harry Cole. This, which he says, The Sun can reveal. You'll also find that the Times and the Daily Telegraph and the Daily Mail all think that they are the ones who were revealing this news from the government. Let me put my glasses back on. Hey, Slinker, how you doing? Good to see you. Boom. Okay, so moving inside page 3 of The Sun, which is page 3 but not page 3. Bronzed Eden Garcia Almagro shows how it feels to compete in top-level European competition, just like her goalie husband, David De Gea. The singer and TV star sang Spain's entry to the 2015 Eurovision Song Contest, where she got 15 points and came 21st. Anyway, she's wearing a swimming costume. Also on that page, WrestleZania. Grapple fan changes name to WWE's Senna. A drinker had more than just a hangover to grapple with when he woke to find he had changed his name to John Cena. Okay, right. John Cena. Okay. John Cena's... okay, he's not my favourite wrestler by any means. My favourite wrestler is Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid. On pages 4 and 5, England's Euros joy, but tough game next. Dream Heem is the headline they go with. Pun on Raheem Sterling, of course. Wish you were here, give us a break, Boris. Going on vacation. It doesn't really work. I mean, it works. Yeah, I know, absolutely made up story. On page 9, Kate, Duchess of Cambridge, took some honey to share with some kids at something. Completely pointless story, but of course it's a story they use to show how lovely she is and then compare it with a story attacking Meghan and Harry, saying, show a little bit of respect, Harry. Net name before Queen chat. The row over whether Harry and Meghan asked the Queen if they could use her private nickname, Lilibet, for their baby girl was reignited yesterday. And who was it reignited by? Why, it was the Sun. On page 10, Project Fear is more like Project Cheer, says over boiled egg Daniel Hannan, the former Conservative MEP. Hey SK, how you doing? Good to see you. On page 11, an excuse for them to print pictures of Brooke Shields and her teenage daughters wearing swimming costumes. Grim. And then on the bottom of that page, Shirl, my new cancer scare. Again, someone's ill health reported in the usual hyperbolic, unpleasant way that the Sun always does. On page 13, Jane Moore is awful. On page 14, they cover the case of a security guard who was accused of stabbing a number of cats. he is alleged to have killed 9 cats. It's a pretty grim story, and the other papers do cover it in excessive detail too. On page 15, twisted defense, shameless killer hubby, I was provoked, armed guards to hide from court mob. This is more coverage of the trial of the Greek man who is alleged to have murdered his wife. I think he said he had killed her, but whether he's found guilty of murder or not is still in question. On pages 16 and 17, Cara Delevingne says her sexuality always changes. She likes making friends with hot male strippers, and she's thinking of having a boob op and a nose job, apparently. Grim all round. On page 19, Grandad 78 crushed to death by 74 stone Arga. Jesus Christ. They fat shame Pete Doherty again for no good reason. One of the reasons he got a bit more timber on him now is he's no longer an active heroin user. Rock and cheese roll Pete is the headline they put on the picture. Really horrible, like completely unnecessary, and all part of the way that they body shame and encourage eating disorders in tabloids. On page 23, snake in the gas. Lost python is found in car engine. Critical support for that snake. On page 25, fans are going batty for Margot Robbie lookalike Amanda Hall as she dresses up as the Suicide Squad star's Harley Quinn character. The photographer and mum of 2, 39, earns extra cash doing video dedications as Aussie Margot, 30. Amanda of Norwich said, "People say I'm her double, so I'm happy to have a go. I am flattered. It's a massive compliment." To be fair, she does look a bit like her. Is it extra grim today in the Sun? Yes, I would say so. It's nearly as grim as that time we did the Daily Sport. On page 27, Appy Ending is the headline they put on the story about Bumble giving its 700 staff a week off. On the front of the goal supplement, Call Me Joe roared on. Fan ban, but Wales star vows to bring the noise. That's Joe Roden says Wales are ready to withstand a wall of noise and turn the tables on another partisan crowd in Amsterdam. On pages 28 and 29, Bowel Babe on her heartbreaking fight for life. Drugs keeping me alive have stopped working. My liver is failing. For the first time, I can see I may not survive this, says Deborah James. She does the Big C podcast. Again, another grim framing of this story from The Sun. Tonight's TV picks. In the footsteps of Killers, Channel 4, 10 p.m. Before We Die, Channel 4, 9 p.m. That's fun times here. Inside Tesco, Channel 5, 7 p.m. And Casualty 24/7, Every Second Counts, Channel 5, 9 p.m. Depressing all over there. If you've got Disney Plus, the new Loki is out, so maybe watch that instead. In Fab Daily, 8 insecurities that could destroy your relationship. You panic when they don't text back. Person in the room always texts back. You use jealousy to spark a reaction. Don't think I do that. You've lost yourself.
You're right there.
Fully here. You're scared to disagree. You stalk them on social media. Well, we met on social media, so that's fine. You don't see friends as often.
No, it's a pandemic.
That's fine. You assume they are cheating. No, I would never assume that, because it's no. And borderline obsessed with their ex. Are you borderline obsessed with any of your exes?
No.
No.
Borderline obsessed with any of my exes?
With my exes?
Are you borderline obsessed with any of my exes?
No. I don't know that many of them, and yeah. Best not discuss them on stream.
Yeah, that's true.
Gledster, I don't need to watch 5 to see Inside Tesco. I could just leave the house and go. Zautar, love to see a Victorian return to a morbid fascination with death. Yeah. AJ McKenna, it suits this country given how we can't seem to get over not having an empire anymore. Yeah, pretty much. A woman writes, I gave my man sexy homework. How studying the Kama Sutra helped couple reignite spark between the sheets. It's always the 70s in the Sun. It's the perma 70s. The £50 letter today comes from Terry Hallam, who writes, "Has anyone asked the Scottish FA how a player could develop COVID in the Scotland training camp before the start of Euro 2020? It all went rather silent after the announcement that 2 English players have been forced to self-isolate after hugging Billy Gilmour following the match. What's more, will the Scottish FA be taking a task about it for potentially endangering other players who may now become affected as well as the tournament itself?" And Les Holt writes, "I can't believe Gareth Southgate did not read the riot act to the England squad about hugging and that no one is safe. Mason Mount and Ben Chilwell ignored self-discipline and common sense by hugging their Chelsea teammate Billy Gilmour and are now in isolation. It shows the public how easily hugging and touching can pass on COVID." There you go. England getting in their excuses beforehand, yep. They're trying to sell you some... what plant is this? A Lavaterra Barnsley baby. That's what it looks like. Sort of fine. In the sport... they're also trying to sell you some cotton comfort trousers. £13 a pair. Available in navy charcoal Lovett. Was Lovett a colour? It's like a sort of shit brown colour. Air Force and sand. High-waisted style, it says here. And in the sport, we don't give an F. Sterling, bring on the big boys. Raheem Sterling continued his stunning England goal fest to land a Wembley last 16 spot. The Manchester City Star's 12th minute header was his 14th goal in 19 games for his country. And he says he's not afraid of Germany, Portugal, France, or Hungary from Group F. I think we're going to end up playing Portugal or Germany. If we play the Germans, we are on our way out. Or rather, England is on its way out. I have got to get out of the habit of saying we when it comes to football, as I am not a top-flight professional footballer. Right. High-waisted comfort trousers in Air Force colours is massively Partridge, says AJ McKenna. Bang on. Farage's face, learning exotic new techniques like doggy and woman on top from the Kama Sutra. Yeah, Taya writes, not the Kama Sutra. Read another book. Do they think it was a conspiracy? Yeah, okay, it's true. Right, give me your scores for today's Sun. For me, it's just a classic double negative nice, minus 69.69. I'm just going to do the roll call while I get your scores. It's a short roll call to start with today, but it's a Wednesday. We always dip in the middle of the week. I am the Broken Bottle Boy, of course. You can follow me on Twitter at Broken Bottle Boy. Also on TikTok, Useless Conquests. In the mod squad is SK the Crusader, currently on a break, but due to return soon with a new posting streaming dojo. In the chat, AJ McKenna, another TT viewer, Carbot14XYZ, Farage's Face, Gledster, Chronotherm, Lady Baskers, Red Tick Seed, Selinka Meyer, Teo writes, Yuan, and Zautar. Right, so we move on. Let me just check the scores. Chronotherm gives the Sun minus constant vomiting from body shaming, and Slinkermeyer gives it, agrees with me, a double negative nice bleak. So we are going to move on. Hi, Yuan, how you doing? Good to see you. We're going to move on to the Telegraph, which I will be trying to do in a speed run. Now, in the past, we've had problems with doing the Telegraph in the speed run because of the sheer ludicrous size of the paper. But I remain committed to this attempt. So, let's see if we can get through the Telegraph in 4 minutes or under. Hey Google, set timer for 4 minutes.
All right, 4 minutes. And that's starting now.
Right, Daily Telegraph, front page. Philip Johnson says, 5 years on from the Brexit vote, what has happened to our buccaneering spirit? Have I had one to start with? The main story is Gove saying that there will be no new Scottish referendum before the next election. If he says there won't be, I bet there is. There's a story about Jester Wall and the Royal Academy. That story's moved on since this paper was published. There's a fashion thing. Every wedding guest dilemma solved. Alison Pearson is writing on the so-called trans debate. So that'll be all heat and no light. And there is a story on Britain's in the EU. Priti Patel laughably claiming that Britons in the EU are being denied rights. Inside, there's GCHQ have made a big thing that's a puzzle about Alan Turing, and Telegraph claims it spotted an error in it before it was officially unleashed. Here's a picture of Michael Gove standing in front of the butcher's flag, butcher's apron, and generally talking a variety of horse crap. They give a whole half a page to the alleged cat killer. Oliver Dowden is pictured hanging out with Michael Ball. No further comment on that one. 1 in 10 children currently absent from school is the claim. They go big on Kate, Duchess of Cambridge, hanging out with some children. Only 9% of domestic abuse cases end in prosecution. You'd think that would be a bigger story, but the Telegraph sticks it on page 11. Bailout creating United States of Europe, claims the Spanish PM, who says Brussels' £750 billion common debt to rebuild the bloc after COVID will deeper integration. There's been a surge in mutual distrust caused by NATO expansion, claims Putin. France torture charge over Gaddafi and Sisi spy kits. 4 French executives are charged with helping Libya's former strongman Muammar Gaddafi and Egyptian authorities spy on opposition figures who were later detained and tortured. Wow, the UK would never do that, would we? US considers slowing exit from Afghanistan as Taliban gains ground. I think they'll end up never leaving. In the comment section, UNESCO is like Eurovision in giving 0 points to Liverpool, says ridiculously bearded commentator Christopher House. Alberto Costa says Colin Pitchfork should never be released. He is the Conservative MP for South Leicestershire. Madeline Grant, one of the Telegraph's few sort of tame millennial/Gen Zers, says Britain couldn't care less about its young people. You're writing in the Telegraph, a paper that absolutely could not care less about young people. In the letters to the editor, there's various mad stuff, but a couple of actually nice letters about dogs. There's a massive feature by the odious David Goodhart, proof that nominative determinism can go the other way too, which asks, has wokeism crushed the working class? If you want to know more about that, check out today's newsletter. There's various dresses, ugly dresses that you should wear to weddings. Alison Pearson just writes absolute horseshit. They do a feature on Peloton because yesterday Rishi Sunak was talking, his love of it was being talked about again. There's a whole page on the Jester Weil Royal Academy thing, but that, as I say, there's been developments in that over the morning. In the obituaries, Gottfried Bohm, the architect Andrew Welsh, Scottish nationalist MP, and Milka Singh, the Flying Sikh, all of whom have had obits in other papers already. They do the radio reviews. They recommend you watch Portugal versus France tonight in the football. And that is that for the Telegraph. Hey Google, how long left on the timer?
There's 19 seconds left.
Results. So, 3 minutes 41 is a new record for the Telegraph. Glenister says a royal hanging out with children. Thank God. Yeah, thank God it's not Andrew. AJ McKenna, if the Telegraph met anyone who displayed actual buccaneering spirit, they would demand they be arrested. Yes, thank you, Sankamara, a new PB for the Telegraph. Okay, and with that, we move on to the Times. Give me your scores for the Telegraph. Always a bit harder, I know, when I do the speed runs because you've just heard me gabbling various stories at you. But nonetheless, I rate it the usual rating for the Telegraph, which is a quadruple negative nice, minus 69, 69, 69, 69. We are going to move on to the Times, and we will conclude, as we so regularly do, with the Daily Mail. Turns out standing up makes speeding through the Telegraph much easier. Slinkermeyer gives the Telegraph the quadruple negative nice. Now we move on to the Times, which, as you can see from the surfeit of yellow, has had a lot of government briefings given to it, as it so often does. Front page of the Times, victorious England, obviously they're going to cover that. In the fashion section, black is back, apparently, even for summertime. Black has never gone out of fashion. Black is the most, black's always in. On top of the page, ministers prepare approval for oil field despite climate summit. It's almost like the things they say about climate change are really just horseshit. The main picture is prosecutors in Greece have banned the publication of diaries by Caroline Crouch, whose husband, Babis Anagnosopoulos, is accused of her murder. They picture him surrounded by armed police. Main story, face masks and distance rules set to go on July 19th. But I thought they just told The Sun about this. Turns out they told The Sun, The Telegraph, The Daily Mail, and told all of them that they were getting a little cheeky whisper that the others weren't. Tom Whipple writes about the science of how far beer mats can fly. Why would you put that on the front page? Because you don't take your readers seriously, that's why. On page 3 of the Times, they cover the week off for 700 Bumble staff. On page 2, breaking up could become a British habit, says EU envoy. Brexit is a living animal that may never be entirely over, and the United Kingdom faces the possibility of a similar breakup. The first EU ambassador to London warns today. And I would say he's right. On the bottom of page 3, they talk about the farcical One Britain, One Nation Day with the headline, Nation Unites Against Patriotic Song. Critics questioned why children were being encouraged to sing at a time when some choirs are not being allowed to perform because of COVID restrictions and infection rates are rising in other schools. Others drew likenesses to North Korea and pointed out that most schools in Scotland would have broken up for their summer by Friday and that the term Britain excludes Northern Ireland. Yes, it was just a shit show, but the whole thing, as I wrote in the newsletter this morning, and if you haven't read the newsletter, do check it out, brokenbottleboy.substack.com, is that the whole One Britain, One Nation, One Britain, One Britain, One Nation thing is an absolute... What?
I'm just shouting at the road.
Is an absolute... Admiral Akbar situation. It was totally a trap. The DfE were pushing it so that we would get angry about it, and then papers like the Times and the Telegraph, etc., can write columns about how we hate patriotism and despise our country or whatever. The new £50 Alan Turing note is now in circulation. I mean, I will never see one. Perhaps maybe if my gran gives me some money. Channel 4's boss has got a pay rise, inconvenient timing given that the government is trying to sell it off or, cease to have it in public ownership. A pensioner has been arrested over the so-called Lady in the Lake murder, which happened 34 years ago. 65-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of the murder. This was an absolutely disgusting case in which during the original investigation, which involved about 100 officers, the lead officer, Detective Superintendent Tony Miller, told reporters in 1987 that it was not clear whether Shani Warren, the victim in this case, had been murdered or had managed to bind and gag herself. So there you go. Tara writes, I still feel a way about this government doing the Alan Turing route when they can't even properly ban conversion therapy. Yeah, agreed. Bubbles visiting UEFA VIPs are exempt from quarantine rules. Surprise, surprise. Quentin lets his sketch just illustrates as ever what a useless fucker he is. A boy aged 17 has sued his parents over vaccine right. A boy in Florence is preparing to sue his parents because they will not give him permission to be vaccinated. In Russia, the mayor of Moscow says that from Monday, only people who have been vaccinated, have taken a COVID test in the past 72 hours, or can prove they have recovered from coronavirus, will be able to visit cafes and restaurants. In New Zealand, New Zealand has suspended its travel corridor with New South Wales after an outbreak of 10 cases near Sydney. In the Philippines, President Duterte has threatened to imprison people who refuse a vaccine and then go and vaccinate them himself. And in South Africa, the country will host Africa's first COVID-19 vaccine production facility. President Ramaphosa announced it as he acknowledged doses would never come from elsewhere in time to save lives. On page 9, Greeks block diaries written in code by strangled British wife. I mean, this is typical weird and xenophobic thing. Our courts would not allow the publication of evidence in a live murder trial very often. So, Times hides a story about the Daniel Morgan case in a column, a very narrow column on page 9, and it allows Jonathan Rees, a man who was jailed for planting cocaine on an innocent woman and was previously tried and acquitted in the case of Daniel Morgan's death. to talk about how sad he was about his partner's death. He very shortly after Daniel Morgan died, he brought in a police officer who'd worked on the case as his new partner. But there's nothing suspicious about that, and you'd be a fool to say otherwise. Football fans in Germany are going to fly the flag for gay rights. Thousands of rainbow flags will be handed out to fans attending Germany's Euro 2020 match, even though UEFA rejected an application for the stadium to be lit up in rainbow colours. It's also, I'm not sure if it says it in Time Story, but many other stadiums in Germany will be lit up in rainbow colours in solidarity. Moving on. There's a big row continuing about the ridiculous £200 million trade yacht. Starmer has moved or removed 5 of his top aides, which has now got people, commentators in The Guardian, etc., saying, will we now see the real Starmer? As if there is such a thing. Labour's briefed that it's not giving John Burke a peerage. I believe Labour also gave the leaked the emails about from Burko to Jeremy Corbyn's office yesterday in an attempt to get them out of trouble. AJ McKinnon, UEFA have just released an incredibly gutless statement about the Rainbow Stadium thing. Of course they have. It's like, let's keep politics out of it. Fuck us. Page 15, Cameron much prefers to employ women, just not in his cabinet. David Cameron prefers employing women because they are perfectionists and work harder, his wife has said. But he employed only 4 of his 23 cabinet positions were filled by women when he entered Downing Street in May 2010. And by the time he had left, it had risen to just 7. Slinkermeyer is right. The real Starmer is just a damp mist. On page 17, Chief Judge faces backlash over call for smaller juries. Now, yesterday, after we were told that one of the worst things is that working class people are patronised and treated badly by the education system, most of the newspapers run a story today about the most annoying mispronunciations. All of these stories absolutely larded with classist bullshit. So it's almost like what they were saying yesterday was just a lot of noise and empty fury. On page 21, an NHS receptionist who was sacked after she told bosses she was scared of patients has been awarded £56,000. Sacramento de Silva claimed that she suffered from public phobia and was petrified of working behind the desk at a clinic in South London. Now, we've seen this one before. This happens a lot. What happened here is she will have faced other issues from management and been mistreated in other ways, but they've picked this bit out to make it look ridiculous that she would have got a payout from the tribunal. Chronotherm, Starmer's just a cop who's too scared of being punched outside spoons to put a uniform on. That's a pretty bang on, I'd say. Page 23, father watched both sons die of AIDS from infected blood. The infected blood scandal is just horrendous. Painted lady butterflies boom after African rains. It's been said that the flutter of butterflies wing, blah, blah, blah. Scientists found that storms in sub-Saharan Africa mean more butterflies in Britain. Daniel Finkelstein, who is, remember, actually Lord Finkelstein, a Tory peer, writes a whole column saying there's no point to the Lib Dems. Now, we may all agree that there's no point to the Lib Dems, but it is quite ludicrous that the Times has this and doesn't sort of make a big point of mentioning that Daniel Finkelstein is a Tory peer. Elsewhere in the comments section, the unfortunately named Roger Boys says Biden has got himself caught in Putin's web. Matthew Paris is, predictably awful. Alice Thompson gives Dido Harding a kicking, which is, good, but not for the right reasons. SK the Crusader, Lord Finkelstein, who will be dunked on in my next YouTube video. Instantly, are you ready? Are you free to proofread my script? I am. Just drop me a chat in the Discord and I'll have a read. Farage's face, Finkelstein famously formerly on the board of a far right think tank. Yes, indeed. On the front cover of the Game supplement, Game Changer, Grealish, playmaker sparks England just as Jose Mourinho said he would. See, for me, he was not the one who made that game last night. But there you go. Saka was the man, and Saka should have been on that front page. In the Times 2, the new jet set, why the A-list are back in black. Okay, was there anything good in Times 2 today?
It's alright.
Not worth going through that then. In the birthdays today, Duffy, the singer, is 37. Sir Richard Arnold, the Lord Justice of Appeal, is 60. Deborah Arnott, Chief Executive of Action on Smoking and Health, is 66. Richard Back, the writer, is 85. Selma Blair, the actress, is 49. Vince Cerf, the internet pioneer and Chief Internet Evangelist at Google, is 78. Nicholas Clearbury, the conductor, is 71. Robert Colville, Director for Policy Studies and columnist for the Sunday Times, is 41. Sir John Eliot, historian, Regius Emeritus Professor of Modern History at the University of Oxford, is 91. Joel Edgerton, the actor, is 47. Joel Garner, Chief Executive of Nationwide Building Society, is 52. Jane Garvey is 57. Sir John Hayes, the Conservative MP for South Holland and the Deepings, and the Transport Minister till 2018, is 63. Lord Derry Irvine of Lerg, Lord Chancellor, is 81. Penny Johnson, Director of the Government Art Collection, is 65. Joe Kaiser, Director and Chief Executive of Siemens AG, is 64. Frances McDormand, the actress, is 64. Colin Montgomery, the golfer, is 58. Jack Morris, Chairman of the Business Design Centre Group and the Brain Tumour Charity, is 65. Sir Andrew Moyland, Lord Justice of Appeal, is 68. Dame Anne Owers, Chairwoman of the Independent Monitoring Board's Chief Inspector of Prisons until 2010, is 74. Maggie Philbin, the TV presenter, is 66. Lord Martin Rees of Ludlow, OM, the cosmologist and astrophysicist, the Astronomer Royal, is 79. Sergei Skripal, former Russian double agent poisoned with Novichok in Salisbury, is 70. K.T. Tunstall, singer-songwriter, is 46. Baroness Shriti Vadera, Chairwoman of Prudential Santander UK, till 2020, and Chairwoman Designate of the Royal Shakespeare Company, is 59. Joss Whedon, no happy birthday to him, is 57. On this day in 2016, the UK voted by a margin of 52 to 48 to leave the European Union. And the last word today goes to George Orwell from the only book that most columnists have read other than Harry Potter, 1984. And he said, freedom is the freedom to say that 2 plus 2 make 4. If that is granted, all else follows. Not quite. Yes, and happy birthday to Frances McDormand, who was an excellent actress. Here is a very good picture of a turtle. Unfortunately, that's part of a story about Australia's Great Barrier Reef being declared in danger because of coral bleaching. There is a sort of sad, a bittersweet story on page 11 about a man with Alzheimer's who got married again because he had forgotten that he got married. In the business news, Bitcoin slide arranges gains for the year. They're trying to sell ugly men's shoes. Kind of shoes I imagine Matt Chorley wears. In the obituaries, Edward Mortimer, a Fellow of All Souls, a Times leader writer, and an entrancing raconteur who helped Kofi Annan to win the Nobel Peace Prize, has died. He was 77. I'm wearing a Trash Future t-shirt. Chronotherm, shoes for ugly men. At last, an advert for me. Well, no, ugly shoes for men. And I'm sure you're not ugly, Chronotherm. You could get some unisex leather sandals. Elsewhere in the obits, Jack Weinstein, US judge and compassionate maverick who presided over the compensation of Vietnam veterans exposed to Agent Orange. He has died aged 99. And Douglas Livingston, affable actor and writer for television and radio whose tragicomic plays centered on ordinary people past their prime of life. He was 86. Other ugly things that you can buy. You can buy a whole outfit today. Ugly pleated chinos available in stone, green, tan, sage, sand and navy. Still trying to sell you stair lifts. They have a story on the first active NFL player coming out. That's Carl Nassib, who is a defensive end for the Las Vegas Raiders. The way he did it was really cool. And he also donated $100,000 to a charity that helps to try and reduce the rates of suicide in the LGBT community. So all in all, good effort from him. On the back page of the Sport, that's more like it. England seal top spot and Wembley last 16 tie, but Scots crash out after defeat by Croatia. There you go. That's the Times. Yeah, Karnasi really did a good thing, and he did it in an amazing way as well. Okay, so that's the Times today. For me, it's a classic. What? Minus 68. I'm giving them a point for some good animal stuff in there, and a couple of decent stories. Slinkmeyer goes with the classic negative. Nice. And now we come to the Daily Mail. Ironically, banning people from reading 1984 would have positive effects on literacy, as it would force people to read something else. Yes. I'm wearing my Trust Future t-shirt today, and I keep thinking, should I make a TPT t-shirt? I don't know. If I did, would anyone buy it? And what would we put on it? All good questions. Right, here's the Daily Mail. Front page of the Daily Mail. Daily Mail, €3 pull out, of course. Top of the page, England's win in the Euros. Rampant Lions roar into Euros last 16. The main story, blueprint for holiday liftoff. Ministers poised to end Amber List. Oh, look, it's that story that we were told that only the Sun had got told about, but is on the front cover of all the other papers too. Inside, Camilla backs Elephant Project with touching link to late brother. Some big pictures of some wooden elephants. A whole page for how lovely Kate, Duchess of Sussex is. Checkmate is the headline they put on the win for England. Balearic's hope for green list is the claim. Apparently, Ibiza and the other Balearic Islands might be on the green list soon. Just 1 in 125 deaths are now linked to coronavirus. Good. What office? Parks are packed as Tsar pushes for a 4-day week. The rock-solid proof that mass events are safe. Ministers admit pilot events didn't cause outbreaks. Well, that's good, because they're outside. Robert Halfon says we should blame racism on racists, not pupils. Is the implication that school pupils can't be racist? And the idea as well that the term white privilege is thrown around in schools willy-nilly is not true. David Blunkett said today's poor white kids are not privileged. This is David Blunkett, whose government played a role in the continuing screwing up of many of those communities. So he can go fuck himself. On page 13, Rot in jail, furious crowds heckle wife killer at court before he astonishingly declares, I'd like to say a big sorry. Never expect the Mail to cover the murder of a woman, or the killing of a woman, in anything but the most grotesque manner. AJ McKenna, does anyone else find the Mail painful to read just in terms of layout? Whenever I happen across a copy and try to read it, my eyes hurt. Yeah. Slinkermeyer, learn some intersectionality, for fuck's sake. Yeah, the Daily Mail... You see, the Daily Mail and the government are deliberately not going to do that because it's about division. Intersectionality would lead to a reduction in division, which is not their aim. Right, the absolute biggest incredible own from Sarah Vine here, who writes, analysis by Cambridge University of more than 2.7 million Facebook and Twitter posts has revealed what we already knew. The nastiest ones get the most traction. There she is, the nastiest one, getting the most traction. The authors of the study point to a perverse incentives that govern a social media ecosystem where animosity is rewarded. She's rewarded on a daily basis for animosity. The public discourse rewards columnists who constantly abuse. Ridiculous. M&S woke underwear campaign is just pants. I wondered, did a single person in the marketing department of Marks & Spencer's question the wisdom of conflating its range of flesh-coloured underwear with George Floyd? The man was murdered, for heaven's sake. Don't use his name to flog knickers. I don't think they were doing that. I don't think they were doing that. I think you're arguing in bad faith as ever, Sarah. The only way you know how. They do a whole page on the alleged cat killer. It's just grotesque, and I'm not going to cover that detail. Did this rapist husband deserve to be shot dead by the wife he so cruelly abused? Yes. Next. New fears over vow to protect Ulster veterans. Target for legislation in July in doubt. A renewed government pledge to introduce legislation protecting Northern Ireland soldiers within 4 weeks is unlikely to be fulfilled, senior sources have said. And it shouldn't be. On page 25, to keep looking dishy, Rishi's turned to the spin doctors. More coverage for Peloton. They must be delighted. Unhappy marriage as deadly for men as smoking, it says here. This is just a story to give an excuse for various male journalists of why they should leave their wives, I suspect. On the front page of their Euros verdict pullout, new kids on the block rock. Saka and Jack hit high notes as England find rhythm. Just wait. Let's wait and see what they say when England crash out in the group in the next stage. AJ McKenna, yes, the Let Our Boys Do War Crimes bill. Yeah, that's the one. Oh, God. The Daily Mail thinks we forget what it was doing around the time of the death of Princess Diana. It says, crowds gawped from Paris rooftops. The Daily Mail gawped at her throughout her life and then gawped when she died. Absolute farce. So, link of mine, no mention of what unhappy marriages do to women, I see. Well, we know what unhappy marriages do to women. They kill them on in very large numbers every year. Just all sorts of this dragging back over the death of Princess Diana. Absolutely disgusting stuff, and as disgusting as they were back at the time. Right, on this day, June 23rd, 2021, from the Daily Mail archive, June 23rd, 1944. The Battle of the... Oh, hang on. The Battle of the Flying Bomb has opened in earnest. A high percentage of the flying bombs are now being destroyed in the air. The Germans have disguised them with elaborate camouflage. Not a wood nor a farmhouse in the northwest of France would be left if we blitzed every possible hideout. June 23rd, 1981. Wearing a bulletproof vest, Mark Chapman, the man accused of murdering John Lennon, pleaded guilty yesterday. Lennon was shot in New York in December. Happy birthday to Duffy, 37, and to Lord Rees of Ludlow, the cosmologist and anthropologist from York. He's the 15th Astronomer Royal. Also born on this day in 1912, Alan Turing. Imagine the Daily Mail thinking that it can talk about Alan Turing. And Edward the 8th was... What's that?
Something.
Edward the 8th was also born on this day in 1894. He went on to become the Duke of Windsor and really loved him some Nazis. So he should be in the Daily Mail because he was, he was up there with the Viscount Rothermere, who was also loved a bit of Nazis. Quote of the day today comes from Ernest Dowson, the English poet who died in 1900. They are not long, the days of wine and roses. And the joke of the day, what's black and white and red all over? An embarrassed zebra. Right, moving on. Elephant killed in his sleep by another male at British Zoo. Grim. On the same page, Britney's legal woes laid bare. Star doesn't even have final say on the colour of her kitchen cabinet. Set Britney free. For God's sake. Poor woman. In the Money Mail, time for change. Let us pay with cash. Let us pay with cash. Coins. The Daily Mail loves a way to get angry about something. How to carry on renting, various things about what you can rent, including can you rent a dog?
You can do borrow my dog, eh?
Is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
Can music bring you record returns? With Taylor Swift label set for the stock market and stars such as Bob Dylan selling royalties, how to make your portfolio sing? Oh, I'll just do that with my portfolio that I absolutely have. They're still trying to sell you equity release. They're still trying to sell you various flowers. In the TV recommendations today. Pick of the day, In the Footsteps of Killers, 10 p.m. Channel 4 is their recommendation. Also, House Hunt, location. The crime thriller Before We Die, Casualty 24/7, and Good Will Hunting. Last night's TV, Philly DA Breaking the Law gets 3 stars. Spying on the Royals gets 4 stars. Spying on the Royals, what the Daily Mail does on a daily basis. They're trying to sell you electric boilers. And in the cartoons, Garfield, John's caught a mouse, and Garfield basically saying he can't be bothered. In Chloe and Co, Chloe is drinking and talking to a man. And in Fred Bassett wants to go for a walk, and the cat wants to come too. AJ McKenna says he, she, they say, I'm sure the male journos are still playing their dealers with cash. Allegedly, in a Minecraft simulation. In the straight to the point letters, here we go. D.A. Hutchins says, just when Keir Starmer thought things couldn't get worse, John Bercow joins Labour. Alan Sharp says, has Boris turned into Vicky Pollard? Yeah, but no, but yeah, but. All there with the very contemporary references, I see. John Finley says, which do you prefer, Dominic Cummings' old WhatsApp snipes or Matt Hancock and the world's greatest vaccine rollout? Edward Warner says, we all know what getting a COVID vaccination looks like. It's time for news broadcasts to give such footage a rest. Keith Jeffrey says, glad to see £1 million has been collected in COVID fines by councils. I wonder just how much this cost. Frank Gunn says, I received a lovely Happy Mail parent card for one of my issue. Mrs. G. Dan Gibbons says, if Waitrose is changing the name of kaffir lime leaves to avoid causing offence, surely gingerbread persons, already renamed for fear of being sexist, should be called Auburn bread persons. Please fuck off. Mrs. B. Hopkins says, I also dislike being called a guy. I tell barmen and waiters I'm a doll. And Gordon Hawker says, my first memory was seeing my mother nursing my newborn sister when I was not quite 2 years old. Why have you written to tell a national newspaper that? She, her. Thank you, AJ McKenna. I did not wish to assume, so I did not. Summer bean and bulgur soup is today's recipe. I mean, it looks fine. Trying to sell you a UK summer escape for £699 per person. It's just cruising around the UK. Or a cruise with William Roach, Lulu and Catherine Jenkins. Or a cruise to a Venice private island. Also some geraniums, some horrible socks. You cannot be serious. A staggering 40 years since John McEnroe uttered those immortal words and caused a Wimbledon scandal. Mike Dickinson, the tennis reporter, interviews him about that. And on the back page, Sweet 16. Sterling fires warning to rivals after England claim the top spot. Hey, Studying Fangirl, you've literally come in just at the end. But fear not, it's always good to see you. And the VOD will be on, will be up shortly, and also it'll be up on YouTube imminently too. AJ McKenna says the Mail Letters page there, a glimpse into the roiling mind of Britain's numpty population. Exactly that. So, give me your scores for the Daily Mail as I do the usual wind up of the day. So, let's first do the roll call. Thank you for joining me today, SK the Crusader, in the Mod Squad. Normally we promote his streams, but he's on a break at the moment. But can't wait for when he's back with a new thing a new streaming dojo. In the chat also, 2020 has been here. AJ McKenna's been here. Really good contributions to the chat. Thank you very much for that. Another TT viewer was here. Aiton is here. Carbot14XYZ is here. Commander Root, Discord for small streamers. Dr. R Dizzle, Faraj's Face, Icaro12 Oliveira, Chronotherm, Morinscale, Red Tick Seed, Slinkermeyer, Studying Fangirl, Terrorites, Yuan, and Zauta. Good to see you all today on this Wednesday stream. Friday will be a magazine special. So, if you want to be the person who picks the magazine or magazines that we take a look at, throw some coins into the newspaper fund. Which is there, but you can also see above my head. Also, if you've not checked out the newsletter, do check out the newsletter, brokenbottleboy.substack.com. Today's is about the whole distortion of what white privilege means by the government and media. You can read it for free, and you get 7 issues a week for free. But if you want to support the newsletter and get some extra stuff, including sometimes some bonus issues and stuff, which are locked to paid subscribers, upgrade to a paid subscription. It does help me keep doing this stuff. And finally, we have the Discord. Which is here. More and more people who watch the stream or receive the newsletter are joining the Discord, and it's great. And we just talk about stuff, news stories we've seen and other random stuff, and it's a good time, is generally had by all. All right, I will see you all tomorrow at 1 p.m. We'll be back here with 3, maybe 4 paper day. Who knows? I've enjoyed this new version where I'm standing because I feel more alert and alive. So have a great afternoon. Catch me on Twitter or on the Discord. And SK, don't forget to send me the script. I will give it a read. Until tomorrow, have a great day.